Everybody, Howard Jacobson here, and today just a quick little video on a linguistic hack that I think you might find really helpful and interesting. And it came to me during my conversation today with Caroline Webb, who wrote the book, How to Have a Good Day. Show it to you. Great book. We did a podcast interview. Too bright. There you go. How to have a good day. And she works mostly with sort of productivity and effectiveness and very heavily related to being effective at work. And I wanted to talk to her about how to bring this stuff into our lifestyle, into habit change. And one of the things she talks about is getting distance from strong negative emotions. So she talks about the discover, defend axis, that our brains are both trying to notice threats so we can run away from them or neutralize them, and looking for rewards, good things, opportunities. And our survival is based on both of those. But since the brain tends to overly focus on threat, just as a survival bet, because if you miss a threat, you're dead. If you miss an opportunity, there's always another bus. All right. So the trouble is when we're threat focused, and we talk a lot about this in the polyvagal theory work with Stephen Porges, and in the Well-Starred Health and Sick to Fit programs, that when we are in fight or flight or in fold, in some sort of defensive stance, a lot of our brain is offline or underutilized. And so we can't make very good decisions in that case. It's when we're under threat. It's when we blurt out things that we wish we hadn't said. We act in ways that are counter to our long-term interests. And so one of the things we want to make sure we can do is always have a way to get away from the feeling of threat. And most people who come to me for help with their health habits, with eating differently, with exercising, with stress management, sleep, all that stuff, they come in with a long history of perceived failure, of perceived inadequacy. And they're already down on themselves. And so their brains are already cowering a little bit, like the dog that's been abused. He sees someone and assumes it's going to hit them. It's a terrible thing to watch, a creature that expects abuse. And that's our souls a lot of the time. If we have failed and failed and failed in our own estimation, the way we talk to ourselves, you're so lazy, you fat piece of, right? The way we can cause ourselves to be defensive, to be in a stressful relationship with the environment, to always be worried, where's the threat? And one way, linguistically, that we do this, if we're already expecting threat, then we're going to see it. Whatever we tell our brains to filter for, we'll what's the word? It's a word. It's got letters in it. We'll see it first. We'll see it on top of other things. There's a word. It's going to come to me at some point. It's not proactive. That's the word that's blocking the word that I'm looking for. So if we expect, okay, today's going to be a hard day. Someone is going to have a birthday and they're going to bring in a box of Krispy Kremes. On the way to work, there's going to be a light, and I know that I'm going to want to go right and stop by the drive-thru and pick up a soda. And at lunchtime, everyone's going to want to go to the pizza place, and I'm going to, right? And we're sort of girding for threat. We're looking at our future, the next few hours, and expecting difficulty, expecting problems, expecting threat. And so we can say things like, when we're in that moment, we're feeling the threat. We can say, oh my God, I'm really craving that donut. I can smell, everyone else is biting into these donuts. I can see the raspberry jam dribbling down their cheeks, down their chins. Oh man, I really want this donut. And here's the hack. Replace I with you. So as if you are removed from your body, your experience, yourself. This is a strange thing to ask because we want to be unified. But here we're saying step back and try, see what happens. And just as you listen to me say it, see if there's a different emotional tone to it. Oh, you're really craving that donut. Right? Can you hear the difference? First of all, it's a statement of fact, and I'm not in it. So I'm removed a little bit from it. I'm looking down. I'm not in the path of the donut bullet anymore. Right? Oh, you're really craving that donut. You can also hear caring, compassion in that voice. Oh, yeah, you really want that donut, don't you? And through that act of compassion, we're no longer fighting it. We're no longer the person with the craving. We're the person witnessing. Oh, look, a craving's going on. And linguistically, by saying you, it's somewhere else. It's down there. Because we are always the I. So if we say you, we're talking in our minds to a different entity. Look, some part of the person that I think I am is craving a donut right now. Look at that. Now we've got some space. We've moved from the limbic system back up into the neocortex because we've done a complex bit of identity shift. So now we're thinking it a little bit differently. We have access to more resources. And just simply saying that, or at the light, oh, part of you really wants to turn right and go get a large Coke right now. Or, yeah, a bunch of your colleagues want to invite you out for pizza, and you'd really like to say yes to that. Simply noticing and naming, labeling what's going on rather than being in the thick of it. Right? Just the label itself can reduce the urgency. Oh, and you can do this, Caroline Webb points out, for any sort of negative emotion. Say, oh, frustration. Now, you can also say it in the first person. Oh, I'm frustrated right now. I am struggling to not turn right and go get a Coke. Right? That can help. But when you combine the two, the label with the second person, and you can use second person for positive things too. All right? You can say, wow, you did a great job walking that mile today when you kind of woke up tired and you didn't feel like it, but you did it anyway. So that combination, the labeling and especially a negative thought or feeling or sensation or emotion, putting it in the second person can give you the space to move from the defend mode into discover, right? Because the next thing you can do that she recommends in the book is curiosity. And one way to do this is simply say, what can I learn from this? Wow, look at you. You really want a donut. What can I learn from this? Or as she quotes the conductor, musical conductor, Benjamin Zander, how fascinating. So isn't that? So, oh, you're really craving a donut right now. How fascinating. What can I learn from this? And all of a sudden, the whole shape, the whole sense of the conversation in your mind has shifted. So give these a try. Play with them and see if they don't take some of the sting, some of the pressure, some of the urgency out of the urges. Right? The word urge, I guess, is related to the word urgency. So when you can separate yourself, label it, and see it as something to be curious about, then you can take the sting out of it and see if you can be more effective in handling it. All right, hope this helps. Have a great day.